Hey guys, it's Ryoga. Um, it's real talk time, and I hate real talk time, but kind of in the mood for real talk. I'm here with Pharaoh. Hey, hey, hey. He's enjoying grass out here at Omelet. So it's April 9th, 2015, and it has been 4 years since I lost her. And I always use that term in quotation marks because I think for a lot of people, I don't even need to say her name because there's only one her um, when it in relation to me and girls and stuff. And for me personally, it doesn't really get better. And I know that sounds like such a defeatist, depressing thing to say, but in my case, it doesn't. And it kind of worries me a little bit. And I think what really inspired me to talk about it today is I was watching the WWE Hall of Fame induction speeches and stuff. And Dana Hellwig, who calls herself Dana Warrior now, obviously, was speaking on behalf of her late husband, the Ultimate Warrior, who died a couple days after his commencement speech last year. And she talked about the physical pain that went through losing her husband that no one talks about. And, everyone experiences grief differently. And I've talked about it before, but it was so nice to hear her, you know, not mimic, but explain the same experiences that I felt about the physical pain that comes with grief. And I believe she equated it to, like someone physically, ripped her lungs out. She might use heart or stomach or something like that. I think she used stomach. That's what it feels like. It's one of those things that doesn't. It's hard to put a face on, so to speak. So here we are 4 years later, and I still have this brat for the past 4 years who doesn't like being outside. He just curls inside his case. And I'm a mess. Absolutely, unequivocally, I am a total mess. And I realize how, when she died, like, I pretty much put my life on hold. Okay, that's a really bad way of putting it. Like, I wouldn't even call it putting on hold. Like, I kind of gave up. I did. I absolutely did give up on everything. I remember what things were like before, when she was here, and how passionate I was about everything, about work and gaming and life and training and gym and Ninja Warrior and all those things. And I don't care anymore. I really don't. And I've tried to date, and all those attempts have been unsuccessful because I just don't care. And that's the real talk. I don't care. I really don't care. And it hurts for me to say that, in the sense that, like, I know what that means, like saying you don't care. In my head, it means like there is no point beyond this. There is no success beyond today. As good as things are right now is as good as they are ever gonna be until something happens to make me give a shit again. But for the time being, like, this is where I'm at, and I'm finally starting to realize it. Like, I mean, I guess I want successes and stuff, but I don't really care. Like, I don't want to go through the efforts and, the trials and, the hard work. Like I said, I'm unmotivated. Because all my motivations were in her. Getting married, having a family, taking care of this little brat here. Um, yeah, every day we were together was an adventure, and we took trips, and we argued, and we fought, and we made up, and we did all the things that like loving couples do, and it never got boring. Um, for the years that we were together, and that's what really surprises me. Um, and I haven't had that since, and I never had that prior, and I don't see myself having that again. So I don't know what I really want to talk about other than throwing my feelings out there. I'm kind of rambling. I kind of think, I don't know. It's hard. It's hard, when someone like me like sees the broader picture and can see the writing on the wall, and most people don't. And and this is one of those cases where ignorance would be so much blissful right now, but it isn't. Like, I see it, and I don't see like a light at the end of the tunnel. I mean, it's not that I've entirely given up. I mean, I get up in the morning, I eat sometimes. It's another story. Um, I do what I can, to exist. And the main reason I do that is because, I kind of promised this cat that I would take care of him until, his final days. Which is a struggle, man. You'd be surprised how bratty this cat can be. But other than that, and I just, dealing with loss and grief on my own is not something I'm well equipped to do. I take that back. Dealing with loss and grief on my own is something I always do, but is not the best option for me. And, and I try. Okay, mini rant again. When she died, obviously life sucked and things were really bad. And, I got into a really, really low, dark place. And all my friends at the current time back then, which none exist anymore at this time, abandoned me. And I've talked about this before, they all said well wishes, sorry you're going through this difficult time. If there's anything I can do, let me know. I'll be there for you. Just let us know. We'll come by. And none of that ever happened. I'd call, I'd text, I'd email, and nobody responded when I was at a really, really, really dark place. And oddly enough, and she'll realize it someday, because Linda, if you ever watch this, Vampy bit me. Vampy and Ciji, Thorton, were the only people that I ever got a chance to talk about how I really felt, who are not close friends of mine. I've met Vampy a handful of times. We went and saw Sucker Punch together at the movies, but that's it. But I can't tell you how grateful I am, to strangers, that were willing to take time out of their life to, cheer me up a little bit. And those who I'd known for decades just absolutely vanished and wanted almost nothing to do with me. And that's because, the people that I've met and those that I've somewhat called friends in the past, were folks I met at the club, and, they really weren't, that vested in my interests. If I wasn't having fun or wasn't, contributing to, the party lifestyle, what was I good for? If I couldn't help them get into clubs, or if I wasn't driving them home after getting like completely sloshed and drunk, they didn't have anything to do with me. And that's a lesson to be learned, and I'm okay with that. I get it. Shallow people are shallow people, and it really isn't about them. It's, about her and my perception of her absence. And I call it an absence because, I'll see her again someday. Maybe. Hopefully. don't know why I'm doing this. I'm just having one of those moments where I think it's important to get my thoughts out. And you guys, some of you care, I guess. Yeah, it's reality. You know, not every day in my life is about gaming and Ninja Warrior and training and reality shows and, you know, the fun shit. Like, there's a real side to me. And it exists. And it always comes back to this moment because my life stopped when she stopped being here. And everything I've done since she left, and I don't use the term died, it's just, you know, she left, it's been affected by it. You know, my perception of the world is it's a darker, bleaker place. You know, I don't see the sunshine like I used to. I don't interact with people the same way I used to because I'm afraid of like getting close to someone and losing them again. And I say this because, you know, don't feel sorry for me and try not to read into this the wrong way, but I think it's important for people to understand like what grief does to someone and how it can completely rip a person apart and change their perspective on everything. And sometimes people don't really recover. And I think I'm one of those people. I mean, I could be wrong. You know, there's always a chance that things will get better. I just don't see it. But I'm okay with that. I think. Yeah, it's a shitty thing to say. She was awesome. You know, when I talk about her, a month ago, I was in LA. Some of you know this, the very short version of the story, but I'll tell it anyway. I got invited out to LA to meet with some executives and some network executives and some people for some show. And I was going to go to the Philippines and do some awesome shit, but it didn't happen. And it was going to happen, and then 24 hours before I was supposed to like fly out, it got canceled. Anywho, when I met with the network executives, they asked me about her. And they said, you know, you've been through some trauma. And I was like, well, yeah, you know, you might want to call it that. They were like, you know, well, tell us about her. And, you know, when I think of her, a few things pop up, you know, about just how sunny a disposition she had about everything. And how much she loved Michael Jackson and Batman and comics and video games. And I wouldn't call her a gamer, but she definitely had an interest, you know, in those things. And I wouldn't even call her a nerd, but like she had total nerd qualities, you know. And she did theater with Rainbow Theater in Santa Cruz. And she was a great actor. And she wanted to be a therapist for at-risk inmates in the prison system. And I used to always ask her questions like, why do you want to do that? She's like, well, because no one else is doing it. Like, there's no one out there advocating, you know, for prisoners, you know, in really, really hard situations, you know, like a penitentiary. And I was like, well, first of all, those dudes are crazy. And you're liable to get attacked. You know, they're violent. They're there for a reason. And she's like, I know, which is why I need to be there. And how could you not love a person like that, with that outlook on life, that their life is about service to other people? And I try to do the same thing. You know, often when I wake up in the morning, one of the first things I think about is like, what can I do for somebody else? And little things like that keep me going. This guy keeps me going. What are you doing? Where are you going? Huh? What you doing? Aww. See? This is what he does for me. He sits in my lap, tells me that things are gonna be okay. And look, I'm smiling now. Alright, 14 minutes of bullshit of me saying absolutely nothing. If you watch this, great. If you don't, you don't. But I don't know, just kind of felt like talking. See you guys later.